Before a recent video, the couple hinted at an exciting development they had been quietly planning for months. On the surface, it seemed like another chapter in their growing agricultural and digital journey. Yet for attentive viewers, something felt different. The smiles appeared slightly tighter, the conversations carried longer pauses, and the usual rhythm of their content seemed altered. Social media audiences are trained to notice patterns, and even small deviations invite speculation. What once felt like a seamless public partnership now appeared fragile. In today's era of near-constant online observation, the smallest gestures, or the absence of them, can spark enormous curiosity. Fans, having followed their journey closely, naturally attempt to interpret meaning behind every detail. What was intended as a cheerful update quietly became a lens through which followers searched for clues about personal challenges, marital strain, or life changes. A symbol of modern rural partnership. On paper, they represent a quintessential modern farming couple. She carries generations of agricultural heritage, translating fieldwork into compelling online storytelling, while he provides a grounded presence, sharing her enthusiasm for land and machinery. Together, they built more than crops. They cultivated a brand rooted in authenticity, shared values, and ambition. Their partnership appeared to blend tradition and innovation, capturing audiences' admiration. Their personal and professional synergy seemed seamless, offering a blueprint for balancing love, labor, and public influence. Followers admired their teamwork, the way each complemented the other, and their ability to make rural life feel aspirational. Their story became more than a narrative about farm life. It represented a dream where personal fulfillment, shared responsibility, and professional growth coexist harmoniously. For many, they were a modern embodiment of connection, perseverance, and the ideal balance between private and public life. Noticing the small details, longtime observers began spotting subtle changes in their behavior. He appeared less frequently on camera, and when he did, his presence felt more reserved or distracted. She often filmed alone, maintaining professionalism but with a quieter energy. On social platforms, consistency is crucial, and deviations invite interpretation. Fans cataloged every minor shift, from altered body language to subtle differences in posting habits. What had once seemed natural now appeared carefully curated. The public mind quickly fills gaps when context is missing, constructing narratives from incomplete information. Observers debated whether these changes reflected personal growth, fatigue, or more serious difficulties. In highly visible relationships, even ordinary adjustments can be interpreted as signs of conflict, absence, or hidden challenges. The subtlety of these shifts became fuel for speculation, illustrating the gap between lived reality and public perception. The ring that sparked speculation. One small detail captured significant attention: the apparent absence of her wedding ring in multiple appearances. While practical considerations, such as operating heavy machinery safely, might explain this, symbolism matters in the digital sphere. Viewers interpreted the missing ring as a potential indicator of marital difficulties. Questions multiplied. Was it temporary? Was it intentional? Was it a deliberate signal? In online communities, perception often outweighs context, transforming ordinary choices into meaningful narratives. The ring's absence quickly became a focal point for speculation. Each subsequent appearance without it reinforced assumptions for some fans. What may have been a simple safety or comfort decision was amplified into evidence of deeper issues. Online interpretation of symbols is rarely neutral, and in this case, a practical choice became a narrative device for imagining personal discord. Rumors take shape. As observation intensified, public speculation grew into concrete theories. Searches related to marital trouble, such as divorce update, began to rise. Comment threads analyzed body language, posting patterns, and the frequency of joint appearances. Absences of shared, spontaneous photos became interpreted as proof of distance. Fans, heavily invested in the couple's story, experienced these speculations as deeply personal, almost participatory in nature. In the digital world, relationships are often treated like serialized dramas, requiring story arcs and emotional climaxes. Without official clarification, audiences construct their own conclusions. Silence, whether chosen or circumstantial, becomes an invitation for interpretation. When context is missing, observers fill gaps with the most plausible or dramatic explanation they can imagine. Rumor cycles feed themselves, reinforcing assumptions and amplifying minor signs into perceived proof of crisis. A shift toward health. Concerns. As marital theories circulated, a darker alternative began to emerge. Concerns about health. Some interpreted his reserved behavior as a sign of illness. Mentions of serious conditions, such as cancer, began appearing alongside supportive messages. The idea of a private medical battle resonated with audiences emotionally, providing a narrative that explained both absence and visible tension. Illness is a storyline people recognize and respond to with empathy. Yet no official statements confirmed these fears. The gap between observation and verified fact widened, leaving room for anxious speculation. In the absence of information, audiences naturally seek explanations that satisfy emotional logic. Even if inaccurate, these interpretations provide a framework to process uncertainty. What starts as curiosity can quickly evolve into a collective emotional narrative, fueled by the desire to understand and empathize. The pressure of public marriage requires communication, patience, and collaboration, but adding a digital audience magnifies complexity. Every disagreement, every quiet day, becomes material for analysis. She manages farm operations, content creation, and audience engagement, while he balances operational responsibilities and public partnership. Fatigue, focus, and stress can be misread as detachment. Even healthy couples can appear strained when under constant observation. Farming itself demands relentless attention, and daily pressures do not always translate to on-camera positivity. Emotional energy devoted to managing responsibilities may limit expressive engagement. Observers see snippets and interpret them as representative, often overlooking the full scope of lived experience. Public life amplifies minor fluctuations, transforming ordinary moments of concentration or introspection into perceived signs of discord. The reality of farm life agriculture is inherently demanding, long before online attention enters the picture. Tight harvest schedules, equipment upkeep, weather uncertainty, and fluctuating markets create ongoing stress. Sleep is often limited, and responsibilities multiply quickly during peak seasons. Audiences usually see curated highlights of accomplishment, rather than the cumulative exhaustion behind them. What looks like distraction or tension may simply reflect the physical and emotional load of managing a farm. Routine pressures intersect with public visibility, making ordinary fatigue appear more significant than it is. The lived experience of farm life, with all its unpredictability, contrasts sharply with the polished digital narrative. Understanding that distinction is crucial before interpreting demeanor or behavior as evidence of deeper crisis. Navigating between public expectation and private life, she occupies a complex position between audience expectation and personal loyalty. Protecting family, farm, and personal health often requires discretion. Removing a ring, adjusting appearances, or limiting joint content does not inherently signify collapse. Yet in public perception, every choice is magnified. Maintaining authenticity while setting boundaries is one of the most challenging aspects of digital-era partnerships. Each decision carries potential for misinterpretation, balancing openness with privacy, managing both operational and relational responsibilities, and navigating public scrutiny is exhausting. Small intentional adjustments, whether for safety, mental health, or practical reasons, can be misread as significant signals. Understanding this tension highlights the difficulty of sustaining a visible, authentic life under constant observation. Conclusion: the gap between perception and reality, public life often magnifies ordinary human experiences. What seems like tension, distance, or absence may be rooted in practical responsibilities, personal reflection, or the stresses of managing complex lives. Observers interpret partial information through emotional lenses, filling gaps with narratives that fit expectations or assumptions. Rumors, whether about relationships, health, or past history, reflect the human desire for understanding but do not replace verified facts. Behind curated videos, social media posts, and public appearances lies the nuanced reality of farm life, emotional growth, and marital dynamics. Patience, empathy, and acknowledgement of context are crucial when interpreting visible cues. While speculation is inevitable, it rarely captures the full story, reminding audiences that the lived experience often differs profoundly from its online representation.